Ooh, nice.
Yeah, I know. Welcome to Envision Radio from the United Way of Greater Charlottesville in the city of Promise News Radio 98.9, 1070 AM WINA. Price here in the studio. I'm co-hostless. Marky decided that she was going to take her holiday break early. I don't know where she is. I think she's in New York seeing a show or something, but I do want to make sure we shout out our sponsor, our friend, the Jefferson School Foundation, proud owner of the Jefferson School City Center. Education, innovation, and community engagement come together to build a brighter future. That's jeffersonschoolfoundation.org. But even Marky-less, the show must go on. And so this is the first time either of us have had a family member in this studio. I think we're on like the 195th episode of this show.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and I think it's the first time that we've ever had a family member on the show. So next to me, adjacent of me, is the sort of what we've joked is the worst kept secret in Charlottesville is that I have family members.
Yep. It's
who
true,
are in Charlottesville.
believe it or not.
We have family members that are in Charlottesville, and we're all sort of dotted all over the place and sort of consistently doing other jobs and sort of hiding our relationships from one another for whatever reason.
Yeah.
It just felt easier. But Events Fundraising Manager at the SPCA, the veil is off, is indeed my younger sister, Lauren Thomas, in the studio with us. What's up?
What's up? Thanks
This
for
was a
having
very
me.
sort of, so this show, and I don't know how much you know about the show, but it started as like sort of a COVID thing when Kai was born.
Yeah.
It evolved into a thing that has like bookings and a schedule and a calendar,
So
and
cool.
it like kind of got official. But this was a hilarious throwback because the first couple episodes of the show I used to do exactly what I did to you, was text people I knew and be like, "Yo, what are you doing Thursday morning?"
Yeah.
Like that's how
like,
the schedule
okay,
that's
yeah.
how the schedule worked. It was just like, "Hey," and they were like, "What am I doing?" I'm like, "I don't know, but we're just
We'll
gonna
figure it
we're
out,
gonna
yeah.
do this." And so this
Great.
is kind of a throwback episode to the early days of Envision Radio, and I'm happy to have you here, man.
Thank you. Thanks for asking me. Really, it's exciting.
Yeah, of course. So tell us. So usually when we do this, I look at someone who I haven't met or have just sort of read about on the internet and say, tell me a little about where you grew up. So now you are not telling me because I was there. You're going to tell everyone
From the
else,
beginning,
though.
yeah.
You're going to tell, yeah. Well, I mean, so look, this usually goes backstory to present to a sort of unpredictable.
Wonderful.
Right? We always
Great.
start with the where'd you come from, where you been. We get to what are you doing now, and then it's sort of impossible to trace from there what the next half hour looks like. But start at the beginning, and then we'll mosey our way through.
Absolutely. Born in 92 at the old Martha Jefferson Hospital.
Oh, yeah.
With a brother. All the way already there.
That's right.
Price is 4 years older than me.
Fully paved the way already.
Absolutely. Both of our parents, teachers, grew up going to Charlottesville City schools until we moved to the county, then went to Albemarle for high school, got a degree in German language and literature, which is crazy, from the University of Virginia, taught high school German for 5 years at Monticello High School and then Albemarle High School. Then went on. COVID sort of pulled the plug on teaching for me. But it was a great career, just felt like time to move on. And so then ended up at Common House planning member events for 3 years, moved on to do private events at the Doyle Hotel for 10 months. And then the Charlottesville-Albemarle SPCA found me, where I currently stand as the Events and Fundraising Manager and have been there for about 6 months now.
As you went through the university, I think it's sort of well documented that sort of our lineage is education focused or education adjacent is as close as I got. But what was it that drew you to teaching, and what was it that eventually sort of pulled you out of teaching?
Totally. So I think I was always initially drawn to teaching, our parents being teachers, and so like seeing the schedule of it was always great. Summers off is killer. You can't beat that. Yeah. Snow days, stuff like that. But also I feel like part of and honestly, initially in college, I didn't really want to teach.
What were you going to do with a language degree?
Good question. Hadn't gotten that far yet, but was like, all right, now I feel like I'm sort of being pushed into the teaching realm. What else can I do sort of thing with a language degree.
Go to the foreign service or something.
Right, exactly. And so looked at that and sort of put myself in teaching and was like, okay, this is how I'm going to give back to the community that raised me.
We also had a really good German teacher.
We did. That's so true. Great point. We had a stellar German teacher, Frau Trice, killed it. Yeah. Really cultivated my love for the language. And so that's why I went on to study it anyway.
Yeah.
But so I was like, maybe I can do the same thing for students that she did for me.
True.
And getting into teaching, you sort of realize, okay, not everyone's going to love this language. A lot of kids are in there to fulfill their language requirement, but maybe I can make school a little bit more fun. Because you got to do it. You got to go every day.
Yeah.
So that hour and a half that they spend in my class, can we, of course, learn the German language, but can we form relationships, have a good time with each other, and make them not dread coming into my classroom?
Yeah. What, talk about like, our parents were career teachers.
Yes.
I don't know that people our age are career anything anymore.
No,
I think
it doesn't seem like
that's
it, yeah.
different, but certainly not teachers.
Certainly not career
right.
teachers,
And I mean, I think that the longevity of teachers nowadays is like under 5 years.
Yeah,
I mean,
everyone was so impressed that I made it to 5 years.
Yeah,
And I
like
was
what
okay.
is that? Is it a culture thing? Is it a money thing? Is it? I mean, we could talk about kind of the nature of COVID, but I also, you see a lot of the zeitgeist has changed.
It has.
And so I mean, what was that for you? Was it just like I just didn't like it anymore, I could make more money doing something else? Or was it, I mean, you hear some of the stuff that's endemic to teaching where like everybody I've talked to who teaches loves the kids and hates all the other stuff.
Absolutely. That was sort of, I mean, I won't lie to you either. The kids got to me.
Really?
Yeah, they got to me a little bit.
High school's tough.
And high school's tough. COVID was a hard time.
Yeah.
So that was when I finished, and trying to teach to blank screens was just a nightmare. And asking a question and have no one respond to you.
Sure.
And so I felt that the support, even before COVID, that the support was minimal, especially in the language department. They don't know what you're talking about. So administration just didn't come into the room.
Sure.
Didn't really care to check up much on the language department, which was difficult. And so lack of support there. Obviously, the money could be better. For all of the work that you do, you go to work at 8 a.m., you leave at 4 or 5 p.m., then you have to grade papers, you have to plan for the next day. So there's just always something else. It was exhausting. I could never catch up and sort of honestly felt like a little bit of a failure in that career because there was a lack of support and not being able to, and so much to do, not being able to catch up. But as far as people being career teachers goes, I think there's also an air of you don't have to be a career teacher anymore.
Right.
You
sure.
can switch up your you can switch up your career and do whatever you want. So if this is a 1 year, 2 year, 5 year thing, you're over it and want to try something else. Like that is more acceptable now.
Yeah. How do you think, have you thought about sort of from the lens of our parents who are, again, 40-year teachers, and I think that theory, which is I think largely a younger person, certainly a millennial theory of like, look, I mean, the longest I've ever done a job was 4.5 years. I mean, I
got you beat.
I sort of typically get fired after that time. But, so there is a point of view on every job that is sort of pervasive, but is it... teaching feels like one of those things where continuity is very important because it is less transactional than if you're a consultant and you're just like, I'm working on optimizing revenue for Lily Pulitzer. Like, okay, some other MBA can plug into that job. There's not a like, oh, I had a relationship with this kid with their family. I understood that they were blah, 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 blah. So how does the institution sort of or do you think the institution sort of cannibalizes itself because the retention's so low, right?
Yeah.
Because the teachers we had were there forever. Wiseman was there forever. Miss Higgins was there forever. Like some of these, especially in those high school ages or middle high school when like kids are weird and everybody's kind of like, ooh. Yeah. There was so much continuity and structure. Mr. McDonald, all these people they'd seen everything.
Absolutely.
They'd been around forever.
You wait to have that teacher.
That's right. Oh, I taught your brother. I taught your cousin. I taught you this. And there was sort of like everyone knew kind of the path you were traversing, and there was sort of the stories and the legends and right. I mean, there was so much more of that instead of like it's a different 24-year-old who's only going to be there for 2 years anyway.
Absolutely.
Right? How do you think that affects the actual? I would argue it harms the institution and it makes teaching harder.
I think it makes teaching way harder. And I mean, you form relationships with kids. They come back to your class next year. You have set expectations that they are able to follow. If there are no expectations, no consistency in the school, you're going to have more problems, just like straight up. Yeah. I remember when we were in school, phones being, I mean, obviously way less intense than they are now. Sure. But
Yeah, sure.
you had your phone out in the hallway and you got ISS.
I did.
You did. Like, that is an actual
that's a real
story.
thing
Yeah,
that
that's a
happened.
real thing.
Yeah.
In my class, you had your phone out. And I'm like, please put it away.
Yeah. They're like, no.
No.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
And then what else can you do? So if you don't have that, everyone being there for a while really does create this sense of community, this sense of trust in the school too.
Yeah.
So that is definitely difficult in having teachers switch over.
Yeah. If you were just
often.
hopping in, this is Envision Radio from the United Way of Greater Charlottesville and City of Promise News Radio 98.9, 1070 AM WINA, our first family episode.
Woo-hoo.
Lauren Thomas here, hanging out in the studio. So you move on from teaching, and then there is also this phenomenon too, which is like teachers. I think that a lot of teachers are fleeing the field.
Teachers are fleeing the field,
not just the school, not
Absolutely.
just like, oh, I'm going to go get another degree or I'm going to go teach another subject. It's like, I'm out.
Totally.
Did you ever consider going to teach somewhere else? Or was it at that point where you were like, it's a wrap on this?
I considered it. I don't know if I actually sought it out.
Right.
I considered teaching trying out a private school maybe.
Yeah, sure.
And then I also looked into, what do they call it? Coaching, instructional coaching.
Oh, yeah.
And what that would look like, and actually followed through with that and applied for the job, but didn't end up getting it. Yeah. And so after that, I was like, oh, I've been a teacher for 5 years. If I don't know, sort of feeling like if I can't get into any other avenues in teaching, it's time to pull the plug and try something different. It was a little scary too, because in teaching, you're like, okay, I got my degree in this very specific thing, which for me was the German language.
Right.
So what can I do with that? But realizing all the other skills that come with teaching.
Yeah.
There's something out there.
How much of sort of teaching pedagogy do you think is useful? Content knowledge is obviously useful. You have to be able to speak a language.
Totally. And I was studying it every day so that I could teach it well.
But let me ask you this. How much time did you spend? Do you think you were able to maximize the time you spent teaching the language? So what if you spent what if you were worse at German and had more training in, classroom management and people control and teenage nonsense, right? Like, I think that so much of certainly what I've seen from our parents is like, I mean, both of our parents are obviously like content specialists, Dad's an incredible musician and everything,
Absolutely.
But he's also incredibly deft at like dealing with weirdos.
Absolutely. Totally.
Right. He is like one of the best I've ever seen, and just like such a wide array of kids have come through his orbit and all kind of left feeling like they were a part of it.
Absolutely. Felt included, felt like they
even
belonged
if some of
there.
them like weren't.
Even if they couldn't play the clarinet.
Or even if they weren't like
all.
even in the band. And I'm like, why were you just on the couch all the time?
Why were you in Dad's office?
And so I wonder, I wonder if that's teachable, because I think in teaching we spend so much time saying, here's how you do math, here's how you teach reading, here's how you do it, which is all critical to the sort of pedagogical implementation of the subject. But I feel like we're in an era, certainly from like my vantage point, which is sort of like outside of, I'm outside of the club looking in. Sort of I'm across the street on the balcony kind of peeking in the window, but it seems like there's a barrier to like unlocking the ability to provide the content knowledge because of all the other stuff, because of all the interpersonal stuff and the qualitative pieces. But I don't get the sense that is prioritized in the teaching of teachers. Yeah,
no, not at all. It's all like, okay, and then you're going to do this so that we have high SOL scores.
Right.
And we need everyone to pass Algebra 1.
Yeah, sure.
Like, whatever. I think that it would totally benefit not only teachers, but the students, of course, to have this interpersonal training.
Sure.
To be able to form these connections with kids. Because, again, if Frau Trice didn't form a personal connection with me, like, why do I care about German?
Yeah. She's a great example, too, of, like, I don't know that you would look at the way she taught and be like, that like that is approved by VDOE.
Oh, I'm sure probably
We're like drawing
not.
stuff.
Yeah, drawing
and
stuff,
like
just
there's
playing
no
guitar
desks,
all the time.
playing guitar all the time. Or like, so that's a good point. I mean, some of the best teachers I've had have not been the ones that I think you would look at and go, oh, they like followed the approved playbook. Yes. They were all like, oh, this is a person who will shift given the sort of environment of the group she has.
Totally. And I think teachers that I love too are really passionate about the subject. Yeah. To the point where you could tell they wanted to share it with you, not just teach you.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Like I think about Miss Tyler, it comes up in my mind all the time. She loved Marlon Brando.
Yeah.
And so she would just like go off on a Marlon Brando tangent that had nothing to do with what we were talking about.
Yeah.
But we learned something about her.
Sure.
And in turn, watched A Streetcar Named Desire.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was great.
I think it is, to your point of the sort of continuously sort of high level pressure to, I think because of the pressure to succeed quantitatively, we often look in the wrong direction for the catalyst of that success.
Absolutely.
And I don't necessarily think that it is always more content, right? Like
it's not, definitely.
You know what I remember from 11th grade with Mr. Wise? And I still remember all the words to We Didn't Start the Fire. I'm 37 years old.
Crushed it.
Right?
Yeah.
I was in his class 20 years ago.
Yeah.
I remember all the words to that. I don't remember some of the other facts, but like that is a sort of exemplar of like the weird stuff sticks with you.
Yes.
The sort of hilarious, to your point, windows into the person.
Yeah.
The Cameron Diaz story sticks with you. That like
it does.
There's so much of that doesn't fall into sort of the things you learn in ed school that, and I talk about this all the time, and I argue with Kate about this all the time of like, are we spending too much time, especially with older kids, on some of this content stuff instead of being like the first 4 weeks is just like you got to crack the chestnut first,
right?
Like you got to break through whatever that is.
To learn about why'd you take German? What do you want to learn about the German language? And obviously, I had a little more flexibility with that because there's no language SOL.
Right.
So I feel like we got to have a little more fun than Algebra 1 does.
But I think too, it's like, and what Dad always did a really good job, and Mom too. It's like you figure out where these kids are coming from, right?
Yeah,
that kid's the third kid in a single parent home, and he's got 4 siblings. That kid's working, trying to pay rent.
That kid obviously didn't sleep last night.
That kid didn't sleep last night. That kid didn't eat breakfast.
Yes.
That kid doesn't speak. I mean, the amount of times we watch Dad feed kids,
100%.
right? I mean, all that kind of stuff. And so I think there is that part of it too, and that's sort of where we come from. Is like, organizationally, is like all of this that happens before you get into the building is not about whether or not he can teach you to play the chromatic scale. Totally. None of that matters in the context of like this broader universe.
Yes.
And I find it eternally interesting that so many of the either current or former teachers who I've talked to are always like, it's impossible to teach a kid German who had to like walk a mile to school and has to go to work to pay rent.
Exactly.
That kid's not worried about where the umlaut goes.
Not care. Yeah, exactly.
And so, I wonder, I mean, and from your experience, is there a way to mix the two? Is there a way to mix, like, do you feel like in your ed training, you would have been like, okay, cool. I could have probably done with less pedagogical knowledge and an extra layer of like, hey, here's the type of kids that we're working with. Now that they can't fire me
from school, I skipped all of the professional development things that I possibly could, as did Dad. Like, rather spend my time getting my nails done than hear about how badly we need little Jimmy to pass this SOL so that our numbers can go up. And like, that just it doesn't get to the heart of anything.
Yeah.
And I don't think was very helpful at all. It just seemed like people talking at me.
Right.
With sort of things that you're like, okay, I can guess that.
Yeah.
But what's the real root of why Jimmy doesn't care about this or doesn't want to learn these things, or this is a problem child in everyone's classroom. Okay, let's all get together as his teachers and bounce ideas of how we can support this kid in life rather than just in school.
I think that's a good point. And I also think there's the counterfactual of like, schools aren't equipped to do that. So there is also that problem too, that you have the exceptional few that will, I think we rely often in education on sort of that exceptional 1% that will continue to sort of go above and beyond because of whatever reason, right? The Tony Waynes of the world who will build a hovercraft craft in the hallway.
Yes.
And,
oh my gosh.
Tony Borach just like lighting stuff
project,
on fire. Yeah. Old Don Foss is like building sort of explosives in the side.
Yes, 100%.
But I think we came from an era where we had some of those legacy teachers that had sort of earned their stripes before we got there. So by the time we got there, they were just sort of going rogue in a way that made education really interesting. But I will also argue that Tony Wayne I use Tony as an example because I think he was an incredible teacher and a kid who can't do math, who didn't care about science. He made physics really fun and really exciting, really engaging. Yeah. But he also had 18 kids, all of which went to like Ivy League schools.
That is very true.
Right? That whole class was like, Stephanie and Meredith and like people who were just like locked in on the thing because they could be.
Right. Everyone in my physics class like wanted to make that 100%. Marble roller coaster
100% dropping eggs off the
job.
roof and like, and so I think about that a lot, that so much of the experience of teaching and your ability to, or what we consider ability to teach, has to do with, sort of what is put in front of you.
That's a great point. Well, and with language, that was really interesting to me and extremely difficult, actually, because you have kids of different education desire.
Yeah.
Kids, you just have everyone in there. They don't break
and ability.
It up
like, if you're not proficient in English,
advanced.
what are we like,
How are you going to? Well, that's where a lot of my classes, I realized maybe 2 or 3 years in, needed to start with, do we understand the English language?
That's interesting.
Because if you don't understand the English language, I can't compare something in German to English. Right. You're not going to get it.
That's right. Yeah.
So okay, let's start with what is an adjective? What is an adverb?
Sure.
Here are these basic things.
And that doesn't show up in your like start over. You know what I'm saying? Like your curriculum is not built to start there.
No, it starts with like, okay, here are animals and fruits and veggies.
Right. Yeah. We talk about that in math sometimes, which is crazy because we go, I'm saying kids got to read. And people go, what about math? I'm like, what happens in math in 4th grade?
You start word problems. You got to read them.
Like you have to read.
Oh, no.
Yeah, like, right? So I think that's a really interesting point of just, again, the stacking effect of like.
Totally.
The connectivity of all this stuff. So, okay, we leave teaching. You sort of flirt with going back to teaching. You don't. Did you ever, in the next 6 months, were you ever like, ooh, did you come to miss it? Or were you always like, thank God?
Oh, no. I was like, oh, thank goodness. This is way better. I'm out. I always said, too, that I would do teaching again for a lot more money. Which,
okay,
like, it just became so difficult in many arenas. So I was glad to leave it. Glad to have a little more flexibility in work. And so I was able to work from home some days and stuff like that, too, which just sort of fits my lifestyle, or the lifestyle that I want to lead a little bit better. It was difficult for me to be at work at 8:30 every morning ready to teach kids.
Sure. Who mostly didn't want to be
there.
Who
didn't want to be there, yeah. And we're late as well, so.
Yeah, right. And so what was the sort of, how did you pick your sort of transition lane? Like you said, you were trained as a teacher, and that was obviously a career path because of the credentialing. How did you decide sort of where to go? From there, and I mean, I guess the interesting question in this story is also like, did you ever consider going back to school to do the next thing?
I did, yeah. So I started taking classes, prereqs for nursing, and did that for a little while, and then I was doing that while I was still teaching, and so then COVID hit and really just put a halt on that.
Yeah.
But I was thinking about other ways. Really, truly, part of my work and career ethos has been to give back to the community that raised me. And so that's something that's always been really important to me in figuring out a job. And thought that, like, I'm good with people. Okay, great.
Yeah, you're the social one.
Yeah, I'm the social one. I like being in an environment where there are a lot of people and I can bounce off them and have a good time and stuff like that.
That's right.
And so I really enjoyed my coworkers teaching. Like, that was super fun, and created every Monday I would send out an email of where we were going that Friday to hang out after work. So the community aspect of it, I really like too. But going into, so I decided to go into events ultimately.
Yeah.
And hadn't really thought about that at all. A friend sent me the job listing from
Right.
Common House, and I was like, okay, I think I'm qualified to do this. I mean, I
Yeah.
plan lessons every day.
Sure. Oh, yeah.
For
right,
multiple
right, right, right.
classes.
Yeah.
Like, I was at Common House, I was planning 30 plus events a month for members.
Jeez.
And so I was like, okay, yeah, I can do this. I can hang out with people. We talk about third spaces and why they're so important to life. The gym, a social club,
Right. Yeah.
a restaurant that you're a regular at,
Yeah, right. Yeah.
a place for you to feel seen.
Okay.
And so that they sort of explained that to me, and I was like, okay, yeah, this sounds great.
Yeah.
I think I can do this, and became pretty good at it.
Yeah.
Loved making people feel like they were involved in the community. I feel like Common House got a lot of people from out of town that were coming in looking to meet new people.
Oh, really?
So I got to introduce a lot of people to one another who had similar interests and create events where you may not find, where like on the street, you may not find someone who has the same interest as you, but you come to book club and
Right.
you've got all these people who are interested in the same thing. So I feel like the line sort of crossed with planning lessons and creating events to being able to put together things.
Yeah. If you are just jumping in, this is Envision Radio from the United Way of Greater Charlottesville and City of Promise News Radio 98.9, 1070 AM WINA. Big thanks to our sponsor, to our friends at the Jefferson School Foundation. That is jeffersonschoolfoundation.org. Did you why did you stay in town? Did you ever consider leaving? Did you I think set up shop in town more? I guess Carmen intentionally came back. I sort of accidentally.
I sort of set it up more purposefully.
Like you, I think actually
intentionally
did it.
Yeah.
Like I just sort of like here and then sort of.
Yeah.
Oops, we got married. You know what I mean? Like,
totally
not to say that was an accident, but I had no intention of staying. I very much had no intention of staying. Carmen clearly left and then intentionally came back. Were you at what point were you like, oh yeah, cool. Like this is I'm going to just carve out because you have, and I think that, again, I don't know that once people connect our dots, this probably makes more sense, but like you have purposefully built sort of an incredibly broad scope of people here.
Totally.
Right? I think I did that accidentally.
Okay. Yeah.
Just in a way, what I'm saying? Like I was never terribly interested in that.
Oh, absolutely. Well, right. I'm way more interested in like going out and meeting people.
Totally. Right. And so you've been very intentional about even in I think you're a good example of even a town that you grew up in, you found many different alcoves.
Absolutely.
Which I think is always hilarious when people are like, I don't want to go to UVA. I grew up here.
That was everything I heard in high school when I was I mean, you ask our parents and they're like, Lauren only applied to UVA. And I'm like, okay, that's not true. I applied to other schools, but I definitely hit it as like, I'm going here and these are my backup schools if necessary.
Yeah, but that's interesting, right? Because Carmen wasn't doing that. She didn't want to stay here.
She didn't want to stay here. There's something about Charlottesville that I really, I'll start with there's family. And our family has always been very close. And so staying around was desirable for me to be close to you guys. And to be able to like still participate in all the family things while having my independence 20 minutes down the road. But could go back to mom and dad's house for laundry, could go back for dinner anytime I wanted to. If I got homesick, it was 20 minutes down the road. And so, and I think the more I stayed here, the more I realized what Charlottesville has to offer. Because growing up, we sort of stayed around the same area all the time. Grew up in the city, then moved to the county, was up 29. Soccer was right down the street.
Yeah.
I drove to Crozet for dance class, but there's a lot in this town and a lot of great people. And so then getting involved in more things in college, starting to work at Continental Divide, which is crazy that I'm coming up almost on 12 years there.
Yeah.
And then was able to, honestly, I feel like that sort of launched getting to know more people in town. You would see regulars there. And I continued to make more friends who provided different opportunities for me in town. So I never really felt the need, never really felt that I wasn't getting what I needed out of Charlottesville.
That's interesting. How do you feel on the, and we've had a couple people on the show who are sort of townies in different bites, but the question I always love to ask and ponder is like, what is the net of the upside of being from a place where you are known, where your family's known and has history, versus the downside of people being... Charlottesville's a very familiar town, right? Like, people who are here have been here for a long time, from a variety of different places, from school, from church, from wherever. And how do you conceptualize that's a good thing because I know these people, versus like, it's kind of annoying because all these people like still perceive me as the child that I was?
Interesting. Yeah. I think more often than not, think of it as a good thing to be well known in a place. Because then I feel like I'm really ingrained in the community and can help out. There is a little air, of course, of like, not that I want to do anything debaucherous or like crazy, but like you sort of have to be a little careful of what you do, what you say. Totally. Because everyone here does know you and looks at you a certain way. And so, but I would see it, I think I really do see it mostly as a positive, being a townie and knowing everyone, knowing where everyone is. We can help each other a lot. They're like easy connections. Being in the nonprofit world, of course, we always, and my title being Events and Fundraising Manager, like, that's obvious. We need to raise money, but you're not going to get money from people if you don't have a relationship with them.
It's a very relational business.
And so being in a place where I have so many strong relationships is not just, it is personally beneficial. Like, I love having these personal relationships and it really fills my heart, but professionally too, it is extremely beneficial.
So talk about the new gig. Tell us about what's going on at the World of what I learned today, which I feel like I should have known, is that SPCA does not stand for Shelter Pet Community Action.
Does not. SPCA, Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals, for all of you who do not know, which is fine if you do not know.
Better
because,
with that one,
but CASPCA, Charlottesville-Albemarle Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals. A lot of great things going on over there, which is just so fun. I don't know why it never really came to my mind to work in animal welfare. Even though I've always loved animals. I have so many at my house.
You have acquired a preponderance of animals.
Yes, I have. All of my children. But I'm like, oh yeah, this just totally makes sense. Planning events that help raise money for shelter pets. One of my favorite things about the shelter really is that not only are we an animal shelter that has hundreds of pets in it, but we're a community resource. And so really want to be seen as that, a place where people can come and meet their new best friend, add a new family member. We also have a really thriving pet food pantry that a lot of people don't know about, that provides pet food to anyone. You don't have to prove public assistance. We need your name, and you say, I have 4 dogs, and they're like, okay, we'll help you out with food. And so ways that we can help the community, it's really important for us to let people know that we're not just there for you to get a pet, but help you keep your pets at home is an important part of our mission.
What else does the SPCA do? I think a lot of people, and by a lot of people, I mean probably just me, but, you know, I mean, see, the SPCA is exactly that. It's like, you know, and it's become a place where my children love to come and hang out with dogs. But, you know, what is the other? What is the other? What are the things that the SPCA does that maybe people don't know about? I think it's probably pretty well known as a place to come if you want to adopt a pet, right?
Absolutely.
But what does the rest of the pie chart look like?
Totally. So we've got a TNR, trap, neuter, return program that traps, spays or neuters, and returns community cats.
Okay.
So we go out in the community, find cats that might not have been spayed or neutered, bring them in, do the surgery, put them out into the community so they can continue to lead lives. but that we don't have an abundance of kittens coming back into the shelter. I mean, I think that obviously every animal shelter's goal or wish is that it would be empty and that all the pets are adopted.
Right.
Kitten season is something that we all joke about, but in the warmer months, that's when cats are reproducing. And so we get so many kittens.
Really?
And
from just people
from the community.
finding them?
People
from
finding them,
just,
people bringing them in.
Okay.
I mean, all around. I've had people who are like, I heard meowing outside the window of my office, and there was a kitten in the bush that must have wandered from here or there. So that's one thing. We have community vaccine clinics.
Okay.
So most of the time they're in the Southwood neighborhood, where our staff will go and provide low-cost vaccines to people, which is great because vet bills can get really high, and I know that it's hard out there with so many pets of my own. I see the vet bills racking up.
Yeah.
So to be able to provide affordable care for animals is something that we are really keen on. What else? There's a lot. Every animal in our care is spayed or neutered before they are adopted. So you get an animal, if you're adopting, you get an animal that is spayed or neutered, up to date on vaccinations, and microchipped.
Yeah. Right.
So that you can easily find your animal if need be, which is great. And we provide at the shelter, there's also someone there for pet insurance. Okay, so if you want to talk about that and ways, again, vet bills do rack up, ways that you can insure your pet to make sure that you don't have to pay a ton out of pocket. We have someone there to talk to you after you adopt as well.
What are the sort of future forward goals for the shelter? Is it more? Is it bigger? Is it more? There's sort of a geographical constraint. So what happens? What does next sort of 6 months, year, 2 years look like?
Oh, good question. I think that's definitely something we're talking about now and making a plan for the shelter. We have a lot of land that we reside on. I think I'm going to mess up the number.
Okay, some amount of acreage.
A bunch of acres.
Is that right? So bigger than what the footprint is currently.
Bigger than the building that it's on. But being able, the shelter has been around for 111 years, which is crazy.
Here.
Charlottesville-Albemarle SPCA started in 1911.
Wow.
Is that 1914? Yeah, that makes more sense. Yeah. That tracks. And so just being able to expand our care for pets is what we're looking at, whether that's getting more vets on site, more staff, more volunteers. We always need dog walkers. We need, and dog walking is not the only way to volunteer, but obviously a great one. So just expanding our reach as well. I think there are a lot of people.
Talking about gegeographically?
No, just word of mouth, our reach for people to know that there is an animal shelter in town. I've surprising to me, talked to a lot of people who are like, oh, there is actually an animal shelter in Charlottesville.
No one went to Adventureland back in the day.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my gosh, that place.
So what about other animals, right? And I'm asking this question sort of in the context of the sort of all of the real estate that happens in Charlottesville, right? And sort of, Charlottesville, Forest Lakes was the edge of civilization, and now it's not. And now there's North Point and Target, blah, blah, blah. Charlottesville's a town that is very rapidly densifying, and all the spaces where animals would live are becoming apartment buildings and townhouses and Wawas and things of that nature. Who does that? Like, what happens to like the deer or like what happens to the bear? Yeah, and I'm not, I don't know. I mean, like here's a grizzly bear, but like what happens to like the bear cub that wanders into 29? Is that something that the SPCA does?
That is not SPCA.
Who does that?
So we're like domestic animals only. There is Rockfish Wildlife Sanctuary.
Yeah, sure.
I don't know about bears.
Yeah.
But
I am curious, in a town that's rapidly more people, more buildings, less space for these animals.
Yeah,
they're ending up in my yard.
Exactly.
Right. But I'm just wondering as sort of like, what is the provision for, again, there will be, you're not just going to be like, there's a mountain lion, let's bring them on into the back. But it seems like there is something to be said for the displacement and then care of the large parts of the ecosystem. I just don't know who that falls to or how that sort of factors into this animal welfare conversation.
Totally. That's a great question that I don't know the full answer to.
Let's go grab some bears.
Let's go grab some bears. Yeah, I'm not hanging out with bears.
I mean, yeah, like what if someone just has me say with like a goat or a bear or something, like, hey,
they'd be like, hey, take it to the wildlife sanctuary.
Do you guys have other? I mean, there's dogs and cats. I've seen like rabbits in there. Mm-hmm. Is it like what is the obviously heavy on dogs and cats? I would assume.
Heavy on dogs and cats. Yes.
There's a two-part question. One, are there other animals?
Mm-hmm.
And then the second question is the goal always adoption? Right? Like, so is that like when an animal comes in, it's like the goal is to get this animal out, or is there a provision of like, hey, maybe this is an animal that is just going to live its life here, and we're going to make it a way that they can live their life here.
Totally.
In a way that's comfortable and cool and whatever.
Yeah. I think our goal is definitely to get these animals into homes.
Okay.
There are other animals, rabbits, sometimes birds, sometimes ferrets. So
right.
Anything that is in the Charlottesville-Albemarle area that is a domesticated animal, we take.
Okay.
But we'd rather not live out their lives in the shelter. It's loud.
Right.
It's smaller than a space. I mean, obviously, having a space to live is better than having no place to live. But if we can get them all into homes where people want to and are able to take care of them, that is the goal.
So as we tie for this expansion conversation, is there an argument to be made, or tell me how much you like this argument for older animal, 8-year-old dog?
Okay.
Probably not going to get adopted, or is a tighter window to adopt.
More difficult to adopt out.
Still got 2, 3, 4, 5. Right? It's like could still have some. And so when I think about that, I think about if you're doing the economic calculation on an older dog, you're saying, okay, it's about to get more expensive.
Yeah.
Just with the stuff that happens as dogs age. Is there an argument to be made for the SPCA to, in part of this expansion, to say we're going to have like the old folks home for dogs, like for some of these animals who are older, who we know we probably won't be able to adopt or be adopted, but we don't want them to live in a cage for 2.5 years. We want them to, what we would
thrive
do, what we would want for our grandparents. We want them to live at the resort for 2.5 years and do the whole thing. It just seems unlikely or harder as someone with a dog and you someone with a dog. We both have, old-ish dogs, but just like it rings. You have an old dog, yeah. But it rings interesting to me that like I wonder if there's a business model there, because it feels harder to be able to say, yeah, we're going to take in this care for this dog, but in 6 months they'll be gone.
Yeah.
I don't know if that timeline actually makes sense. But I also don't know what sort of the business case for that would be, or even what sort of the number of those animals are. If it's big enough to make the case to do it. Right. If it's like 2, you're like, okay. Well,
okay. That's interestingly enough, I found there are a fair amount of people who want older animals.
Really?
So,
just because they're kind of slower?
They're slower. They're a little less work.
Yeah. Probably already trained.
Some people come in and, already trained, looking for a house-trained older animal. Maybe they don't want an animal for a super long time. And so they're like, okay. I want this 8-year-old dog, and I don't have to train it.
Yeah. Huh.
Et cetera, et cetera. So that being, let's see. Yeah. I don't know about the business model of like an old dog, old folks home.
The Dog Senior Center.
Yeah, Dog Senior Center.
Westminster Canterbury for dogs.
And that's not something I've ever thought about, surely. But
it's also what we have on the show is a lot of dumb ideas.
Yeah, so. Hey, fair. Throw them out.
Come for the conversation, stay for the bad ideas.
But there really are a group of people who desire older animals.
Yeah.
And so I think that that's obviously great and good to see. And we run sort of like a special for seniors if they want a senior pet.
Sure.
Get a little bit of a discount.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. And so
yeah.
But interesting thought.
If you are just jumping in,
I'll bring it to the.
There you go. Let them know. This is Envision Radio from the United Way of Greater Charlottesville and City of Promise News Radio 98.9, 1070 AM. WINA. Thanks to our sponsor, our friends, the folks at the Jefferson School Foundation, jeffersonschoolfoundation.org. Reimagine, redefine, refueled for the future. Is this the kind of business that evolves and innovates, or is it the kind of thing that you're just sort of always perfecting the things that you do? Right? Like,
I think there are ways that it can evolve. But at the root of it, we're caring for animals.
Right.
And
Like, is that like that? That is never going to change, but are
Sure.
there things that will be added on to that? Have there been things that you've seen sort of either contextually or otherwise that like, oh, as I learned about this, maybe we should be doing this instead? Or is it more like, look, the practice is pretty well informed.
Yeah.
Now it just needs to get bigger, or now it just needs to get more efficient, right? So when we think about education, it's like I fundamentally believe that we are funding education improperly.
Yeah.
Right? Like there is a paradigm shift.
Totally.
That's kind of a big thing. Are there big rocks for you, or is it just like, look, I think what we do is sound. The way we do it is sound. We have to find a way to we are in the business of scaling the business, not sort of looking for ways to fundamentally manipulate parts of it.
Yeah. I think that what we do is great and sound. There are many other things that we can implement to make things more efficient, maybe. Okay. I feel that my position is a great example because, like, how many animal shelters in the past, I don't know the answer to this, but how many animal shelters in the past have had an event-specific person? And so tying in, like, okay, this is either we do some for visibility, some for fundraising.
Sure.
Like, this is an event that will help the animals.
Oh, okay.
Or that your money, your donation, your attendance will help or draw awareness to specific animals or stuff like that. So yeah, there are always new things that we can implement. In my mind, it's like what new fun things can we put out there that'll draw people to the shelter. But I do believe that what we do is pretty well established.
Yeah. What has been your favorite event to date?
Ooh, good question. I love hosting trivia.
Okay.
I started that at Common House when I was there and hosted a trivia game that I wrote at Cardinal Hall, which was fantastic.
Yeah.
That was super fun. I think that our big marquee events are always really great too, like our Summer Solstice Gala, Fall Fest.
Yeah. Talk more about what those are.
Yeah, so Summer Solstice was our summer fundraiser, and just had a big sort of gala event with food and beverages, a talk from our ED about what's going on in the shelter, games and things like that, just to get all of our supporters out and thank them.
Yeah.
Fall Fest is our big community event, which was in October, to really just rally the community around our shelter and show that we are there to be a community resource, as I said before, and have fun.
Yeah. And what is on the horizon?
On the horizon, we have a couple of things. Our biggest one being Bow Wow Walk on May 9th.
Okay.
Which is a 5K run walk. And then we are implementing some Fall Fest type things. So at Fall Fest, we had blow up inflatable
was that the thing at
games. That was at North Fork.
That was great.
Inflatables, food trucks. We're going to have a mutt strut. So sort of like a costume contest. So who's got the best mutt. We're really excited, too, to be partnering with the Tom Tom Festival this year for Bark After Dark, which is going to be a dog rave.
Okay. Explain to anyone, including
which is my
me,
craziest idea.
What that is. Yeah.
So I thought it would be really fun, Tom Tom being a huge community festival, to include animals in that. And so everyone's always like, oh, I got to leave my animal at home, or I have to leave to go feed my animal or something like that. Oh,
interesting. Okay.
How can we have a party with your animals?
Yeah.
And so I'm thinking like bubble machine, light up collars, DJ.
Okay.
Dogs just
where does that take place?
That's what we're figuring.
Okay.
Let me get back to you on that.
Yeah. I'm thinking, like, where does a thing like that
But I'm asking around a couple of
transpire?
places to see where we can do it.
Okay.
I'm down for inside. It's going to be in April, so it'll be hopefully fine weather.
Sure.
But I'm down for inside or outside if somebody is willing to have animals inside of their establishment. But just a fun time where people can get together. The Tom Tom parties are always great.
Sure.
But this is one where you don't have to leave your dog at home.
Yeah. And In the next, call it like year and a half, 2 years, I mean, what is, as part of those conversations that you guys have had, what is part of the growth? Is more animals the goal? Is it faster turnaround time of, like, you know, how do you look back on whatever is happening and say that it worked or it didn't?
Yeah. So I think our, that's a good question. Getting shorter stay of animals at the shelter is always a goal. So if we can get them out quicker, like we always try to advertise our longest stay dogs. We never want, we've had ones that have been there for years that you have seen as a puppy to an adult. And so.
And what is that? Is that a breed thing? Is it a size thing? Is it what do you find is, are there commonalities in the drivers of what is hanging on?
It can be a breed thing. All of the animals that we get are mixed breed of some sort.
Right.
And we don't really know. The clinic does their best to guess at obviously age and breed and things like that. But as they are all coming into us, it's hard to know what exactly they are. Unfortunately, pits, of course, specifically have a bad rap. Sure. And so people don't want them. If there's something medically difficult about the animal, incontinence of any sort, diabetes, or they have to give them medicine. Things like that can make it harder to adopt an animal out if there's extra responsibility on top of the already given responsibility of owning a pet. And then sometimes we just don't know. We're like, this is the sweetest pup ever, and it's been here for a year. Why?
Interesting.
So it's kind of all over the place.
Yeah. Bring them to the breweries. Loan them to single 23-year-olds.
Exactly. Well, one of our favorite programs, actually, which I forgot to mention earlier, is our Fido field trip. So you can take a dog for a day.
Oh,
you
nice.
You can even do a Fido sleepover if you want.
Really?
If you're just having such a good time, you can't give them back that day. But you basically sign out a dog for the day and do whatever you want. We'll give you a little Adopt Me collar or bandana so that people can see that they're adoptable. And it's really popular with college students because they can't have their pets with them. And so they'll come take a dog for a day. It helps out the dog and it fills their heart with warmth.
See, now you're onto something, right? That's a very interesting idea. What didn't I ask? What else do people need to know?
What do people need to know? The Charlottesville-Albemarle SPCA is independently funded, meaning we don't get funding from the national SPCA branch.
SPCA overlords.
Yes. So we do all of our own fundraising. Are really thankful because this community shows up for animals and really cares. And so we're really grateful for that, but just want to make it clear that we are not funded by a bigger organization. We, this holiday season, have giving trees all over town. 20 plus businesses have agreed to set up giving trees for us. So if you go and you see, we made little ornaments that all have QR codes on the back, a dollar amount of what could be given, what that dollar amount is used for, and an adoptable animal in the front just to make it cute as well. And so a great way to give back this season if you're looking for something.
Yeah. Cool. What do you think? Painless,
Great
right?
job. Painless, totally.
We did it. That's right. That is the social butterfly of the Thomas family and the Events and Fundraising Manager at the SPCA, Lauren Thomas. And again, big thanks to you for listening. If you have ideas for the show or want to contact us, check us out on social media on all platforms at United Way Cville, at City of Promise. Drop us a note, Envision at UnitedWayCville.org. How do folks keep up with what's going on at the shelter?
Yeah, absolutely. You can follow us on Instagram at CASPCA. You can head to our website, which has all the information you could need, caspca.org. If you would like to get our newsletter, you can do that on the website as well.
That is caspca.org. We get support on the show from folks like you. If you like what you hear, share with your friends, share with your colleagues. You got road trips coming up. We got about 195 episodes to get you up and down the highways and byways on your favorite podcast platform, Spotify, Apple Music, Pandora, wherever you get your podcasts. And of course, in this season of giving, consider making a contribution to City of Promise, United Way, the SPCA, any of the other wonderful nonprofits in Charlottesville. It's how we continue doing our community-based work. And, of course, this show, I think the best quote I've heard about the holiday season is give generously and drink responsibly. So for Lauren, this is older, better, best brother Price. Big thanks to our sponsor, our friend, the Jefferson School Foundation. That is jeffersonschoolfoundation.org. Stay safe, stay warm. We will see you next week.